It came to pass when Solomon had finished the building of the house of the Lord, and the king's house, and all Solomon's desire which he was pleased to do. The Lord appeared unto Solomon the second time, as he had appeared unto him at Gibeon. And the Lord said unto him, I have heard thy prayer and thy supplications that thou hast made before me. I have hallowed this house which thou hast built, to put my name there forever, and my eyes and my heart shall be there perpetually. The Lord said unto him in verse 4, If thou wilt walk before me as David thy father walked, in integrity of heart. How did God want Solomon to walk before him? In integrity of heart. I'm going to be very careful the way I say this. Most of the time when we fall into sin, notice what I say. Most of the time, not every time. Most of the time when we fall into sin, it's rooted in selfishness and pride. You know what that means? That means that we don't put God first. We don't love God first, but we love ourselves. That's the reason why most of the times we fall into sin. I did not say all the times. I say most of the times. Because sometimes it could be self-defense, or it could be because of life, or maybe because of something happened to your family. That's why I say most of the times it happens because of selfishness and because of pride. That's why I believe Solomon or David said for the Lord not to let them become poor so they won't start stealing, and for them not to have too much money so that they won't leave the Lord. Okay? So that's why most of the time you have to know yourself and pray to God to help you in your journey in this life. So in this verse here, God said to Solomon, if thou wilt walk in integrity of heart, if your heart belongs to the Lord, then you won't fall into sin. But if your heart belongs to something else, that's when you start falling into sin. So God said to Solomon to walk in integrity of heart, but what happened? Solomon did not listen, but because God said, if you follow after these women, they're going to make you walk away from God. When you walk away from God, it's because you lose your love for God. When you start losing your love for God, you're going to love something else automatically. That's what makes you start falling into sin. Is because your heart now belongs somewhere else. Notice what it says in chapter 11. It says, King Solomon loved many strange women. You see what happened? So his love was supposed to be for God first. Why? In the book of Mark 12:30 says what? And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. So once you start sharing your heart with somebody else, they're going to win your heart. And then you're going to start falling into sin. Once the devil wins your heart, once the women win your heart, once money win your heart, once lust wins your heart, once the liquor wins your heart, then you're going to start falling into the sin because you are loving the sin more than you love God, because this is the first commandment that God gave to Israel, and it is the first commandment that God gave to us. You shall love the Lord thy God with all thy soul, with all thy heart, with all thy mind, with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. So the reason why we fall into sin most of the time is because we break the first commandment. That's exactly what happened to Solomon. Solomon loved many strange women, so they won his heart. That's why he started serving other gods and he walked away from God. So the reason why you fall into sin is because you stop loving God. That's why in the book of Proverbs it says what? Proverbs 18:12 says, before destructions, the heart of man is haughty. And before honor is humility. So when you start sinning, your heart becomes prideful. Your focus is no longer on God. Your focus is on yourself. Your focus is somewhere else. So Solomon love was for the women. It was no longer for God. The same thing happened to Samson. Samson told Delilah all his heart. She won his heart so much that he even gave the secret how to kill him. He gave the plan of his destructions. Thou art foolish, we can be deceived when your heart is being won by somebody else. That's why you need to protect your heart more than anything else. The Bible says, love the Lord with what? With all your heart. If God doesn't have all your heart, you're going to start sinning. You're going to fall back into sin. You're going to backslide to the world. Because the devil's deception and his plan is to win you back to the world. That's why you must pay attention to God's words. You must obey his commandments. You must follow after his ordinances, his principles, his statutes. If you don't follow after him, you're going to fall back into sin. Jesus says in Revelation, come back to your first love. Love the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, with all your mind. That's the only way you're going to make it. It's not about 1 day, 2 days, 1 year, 2 years. It has to be until the end. You have to persevere until the end. That's your only hope. Serving God is not only going to church every Sunday and you feel happy because you dance, because you sing in the choir. It's about giving God your heart. You hear what I'm saying? What does it say in Proverbs 6:25? Lust not after her beauty in thine heart. That's the reason why the devil has all his agents dressing with provocative clothes. They dressing butt naked in the streets. They're showing everything that they know that guys love to look at. What does the Bible say? Lust not after her beauty. It's not about her makeup and eyelashes and her apple bottom. Give your heart to God. Let not your heart after her beauty in thine heart. See, they trying to win your heart. Neither let her take thee with her eyelids. See, eyelids that all these girls are wearing in nowadays, they were already in the Bible. They were already in the Word of God. That's why these girls, they wear all those long eyelashes. They're trying to blink their eyes at you to win your heart. That's why most guys fall. Most great men, most great kings have fallen after the lust because they let these girls win their heart with their beauty. That's exactly what happened to Solomon. They won Solomon's heart. That's why God told him, walk before me with integrity of your heart. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Messing with these women out there, you're going to be burned because they don't care nothing about God. They're going to win your heart with those tight spandex they be wearing, those tight clothes and tight jeans, those tight, they used to call them Daisy Dukes in my days, those short shorts. They're going to win your heart. That's why when you see them coming, turn your eyes away. And that's the reason why a woman of God should be dressed differently, modestly, not immodestly, but modestly. Can one go upon hot coal and his feet not be burnt? Stop playing around with your soul. Stop playing around with your life. That's why everybody in our days right now is walking around butt naked. I could say butt naked almost because the tight stuff is just covering their skin, but they showing all their sensual aspect of their bodies. God is out there. He's trying to save you, my friend. Fall in love with God. Stop falling in love with this world. This world is only there to entice you away from God. What it says in Proverbs 7, my son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live.